With mail-in ballots sent to all voters this year, the County Registrar of Voters office has been busier than normal. So how are things going so far? I checked in with the Registrar, Rebecca Spencer.
Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How is the election process going so far in the county, and does everything seem normal?
We're very busy, so we're seeing a lot of voters turn in their ballots early, which is great because that helps us get the votes into that first release of results shortly after 8 o'clock on election night. But yeah, everything seems to be moving forward, typical to other elections, except that we are seeing more voters participate early.
How does the election auditing process work in Riverside County?
So after election day, we do a 1% manual audit. And so that is where we select 1% of the precincts at random. We actually roll dice and select 1% of the precincts. And we hand count those ballots and compare that hand count to the scanning electronic count and make sure that they match. So we go through, make sure that the systems are tabulating the ballots correctly.
Obviously, there are a lot of mail-in ballots this year. How does that affect the audit?
So it will probably be a larger percentage of ballots being included in the audit due to voters turning their ballots in early. So we do the random selection of precincts the Thursday after election day. So 2 days after election day is when we do the dice roll and pick those precincts. And so any ballots that are into those precincts at that point in time are part of the audit. So the earlier the ballots, the more ballots that come in, the larger percentage of the ballots that are included in that audit.
How accurate are the audits, and were there any discrepancies in the audits for the most recent election?
The audits are 100% accurate, and no, we have not seen any issues come from the audits. The hand count always matches the machine count.
Any lessons learned from the previous elections?
When we're doing those hand counts, the lessons that we learn is the more voter education that we need to do. So when we're doing those hand counts, we can see that voters, instead of filling in the oval, might be putting an X or a check mark or circling the candidate's name. So those are the things that we find out during that audit that we need to increase how we educate voters on how to correctly mark the ballot. Those ballots still get counted, but they just have to go through more human review before they're counted. So we look at those and try to increase our voter education for the next election.
How long would it take to certify the results of an election, especially when it's extremely close?
We will be certifying the election on December 3rd. Due to the size of this county, how many ballots are cast. Also, there's a number of laws that allow things to happen after election day. One of those is the 17-day postmark law. So the ballots have to be postmarked on or before election day and received within 17 days after election day. So for those 17 days, we will be looking for postmark ballots and processing those. We also have to give voters who sent in their ballot and did not sign the envelope a chance to submit their new signature. So that takes place after election day, as well as signatures that did not match. So if we're checking the signatures on the envelope in comparison to the voter's signature on their voter registration card, if we determine that it's not a match, we have to notify those voters and let them cure that issue. So those are all things that take place after election day and lead to the December 3rd certification date. So if it's a close contest on election night, then that's probably not going to be completely resolved until we certify the results.
And speaking of signatures, are you seeing any issues so far with signature verifying?
No. The signature verifying, other than a lot of people are turning them in early, so we have a lot more staff working on it, but the signature verifying process is typical to what it has been in past elections.
Has the county seen issues with unofficial ballot boxes or ballot collection boxes, or does everything seem to be okay so far?
We have had reports of unofficial ballot boxes, and for those, we're referring that information to the California Secretary of State's office. Our official stance is we just encourage all voters to go ahead and use the 80 drop-off boxes that are official and are printed in the voter information guide and on our website.
Finally, Rebecca, what's the message you have for voters as we approach Election Day, and what can they expect immediately after?
So we're encouraging every eligible voter to go ahead and cast their vote, whether it be through the USPS, through our 80 drop-off locations, or at the 130 voter assistance centers. The earlier, the better. And we hope everybody participates in this important election. It's part of our democratic process.
Rebecca Spencer, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.